And AK's taking our money. Taking my money. Welcome back to Mediocre Painting with me, Wayne. We're continuing working on our little dwarven tower here. I've already gone ahead and sealed this model in preparation for the enamels that I'm going to be using, because you don't want to mix your mediums on your paint, like enamels or lacquers, with water-based acrylics. You can, for the most part, with usually not too bad of side effects, but occasionally you get a chemical reaction, and we want to seal these models so this doesn't happen. So I'm going to paint these shutters on this little dwarven tower. They look like they're supposed to be steel. And the color I'm using is AK's Oily Steel. I like this color a lot for doing like worked metal. That, and I had it handy. So I'm gonna come back and do these like ledges and stuff around these windows later with wood contrast paint, but I wanted to get to some weathering today and show you some different techniques you can use for weathering. Got some enamels here. Streaking grime is probably the most in use thing right now. And I only know this because we sell the shit out of it and like almost nothing else. These old boomer 1/35th scale World War II tank modelers been using all this bullshit for years. We're just now discovering it. And AK's taking our money. Taking my money. We're going to start out with some streaking grime, and I want to show you some cool stuff you can do with that and some different techniques. It looks really neat on these 3D printed pieces because it just like when you're looking at it like super up close, you're like, that doesn't look very good. But when you're looking at it like out here, it looks real cool. So I'll show you some cool stuff. Shake it up. And when you think you've shaken, you can tell this isn't mine, no shaker. You gotta make sure you mix it, because this actually does have a sizable particulate in it that you can, it will chunk to the bottom, as most enamel paints do. They will have the sediment will separate from the enamel medium that is used in here. I think it's a mineral spirit medium that's used to suspend it all. So you've got to be constantly shaking it, and if you're using it for more than 5 or 10 minutes, you got to put the lid on and shake it again. You can see that the streaking grime is just kind of a brown kind of gritty looking wash. And there's a bunch of different ways you can apply this. For larger scale models, you just use your regular old round brush and actually just make your streaks. And when you're doing, where's my filbert? Here we go. You want to get real creative. They actually make these weathering brushes that have like a sawtooth brush edge to them, and I'm going to show you how that works real quick. So say we want to make it look like the rain's been falling on this tower, and it's, you know, been weathered and wearing it down and just kind of looking grimy over the years. So we can take some of our streaking grime and you just lightly kind of tip off, you know, where would like the water and stuff pool down, and make little runs and just little subtle details to kind of make that look weathered. Now there's no hard or fast rules for this, like make sure you have X amount of weathering per square inch or anything like that. It's just whatever makes you feel good, whatever you think looks, you know, the neatest. And you can take the sawtooth brush, and there's a couple of different ways I've seen guys use it, but what's worked for me is to just kind of do the thing. So it gives you like kind of a real tapered look to your weathering, but it covers a wider area. So if you want to like really make it look kind of grody, but it gives you the individual lines. And what this is really good for is a lot of the The military modeling guys will do this, like if you got like a fuel spill on a tank or something. But you can use it on something like this to kind of just really like make it look like something bad happened up here on this battlement. Like maybe somebody got killed and this is like some dried blood or something that's been up here, or a dragon took a big old shit on the side of this tower. I don't know. Whatever you want it to be. It's just how subtle or unsubtle you want the streaks. And what's great about enamels is, see, I don't like how this looks on here. I can go back later with my Q-tip, with my wash, with my not my wash, I'm stupid, with my mineral spirit cleaner, and I can clean this up and take some parts off of it, because what I've done is I've sealed the model underneath. The paint underneath is separate from this. So I can use that mineral spirit to clean this up, and I'll show that to you here in a minute after I'm done weathering this. And your old standby, old school, available at Walmart, but also through me and my website, Testers brush cleaner. This is mineral spirit. This is enamel based. You can use this to clean off your goodies, and you can see it just comes right off there. And if you really want to be efficient with your time, you buy one of these glass bottles, and then you buy a big jug of mineral spirits, and then as this just gets saturated with paint over usage, you just dump this and then refill it from your big jug. And it's more economical that way. Back to our regularly scheduled weathering. I like my streaks to be more subtle. Kind of follow the contours of the, like it's flowing down the edge of, you know, whatever, like what rain would do. Like it'd follow here and like follow that raised edge down. You know how rain do. I think the worst part of weathering for me is the number of people that don't even notice that you've done it. Because as that happens, you go through all this and you're like, look how neat my model is. And then somebody just doesn't even compliment you on all the hard work you've done. And you're like, it's not the red on the little minaret. This is where you get to express yourself as an artist. This is where you get to show just a little bit of unrestrained creativity. You know, because we got this little roof section here. So obviously there's going to have like rain coming off the roof that, you know, might drip down these walls. Time for the liquid talent. My favorite. I'm going to use the large shade brush from Games Workshop's new synthetic line. I've been trying them out just to see how they do. And truth be told, they're not terrible. And what's nice about the Null Oil is it's a black wash, but it's not super like pigmented. So the effect is still rather subtle. You still know that that's a gray stone floor. That's a gray stone building, but it's got a little bit more depth to it now. It's got a little more detailed, picked out. And the Null Oil's not so pigmented that it stains everything. Like this is not all black now. It's not all a super dark gray because I hit it with a wash that was too pigmented. Like it's just the right consistency. Now you can get this by thinning out washes from other companies, but you got to thin them. Null Oil comes nice and thin. And you'll notice my brown streaking effects still showing, even though I've gone over them with this Null Oil now. They're still there. It's not covering that up. And that's a nice bit too. That shows you how like versatile and usable the Null Oil is, and how your weathering effects that you get with other things, especially like the enamels, can come through your shading and everything else to really give. Later in this video series, we'll do some cool stuff with like gluing moss and like we're using flocking to simulate moss and vines and things on this tower. So we'll do that. We'll do that too, just to show you some other things you can do. And before we cut off, last thing we're going to do today is do some rust streaks on these metal shutters. Rust streaks from AK. Oh, there's a shaker ball. This one's mine. Use a smaller synthetic brush for this. Since these are we're simulating metal shutters here, so we're just gonna do a little rustiness to them. And obviously you don't even have to do this. All weathering is optional. I like to add it, especially to our static terrain models, because it just makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. All right, next time we'll do some moss effects and some grass and do a final seal, and this will be good enough for a store terrain piece at that point. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Bye.